What's up, everybody? I'm a little close, huh? Dang, I didn't even put my light on. Hang on a second, man. Let's get this together. Boom, there we go. What's up, everybody? Alright, let's get into it. So, like I said in the last live, I want to bust out a video basically speaking on my prison adjustment into society and also going through the recovery programs I went through that helped me so much with getting back into society. So, boom, starting off where we left off on the end of sentence video. I was at my mother's house. More or less, I needed to find a program to get into. She found one, but it was an all guys program. Immediately, I'm like, hell no. I don't care if I can't touch a female, but I'm going to see females. They're going to be visible to me. I'm not going to an all male facility. I'm all set with that. So I looked up a program, and it was called the Cushing House in South Boston. I think it's on Old Colony Ave. It's behind the D Street Projects, ducked off in a building. And I called them up and they told me I needed to go through like a transitional facility before I could be accepted into that program straight away. So boom, I called up Transitions in Mattapan. Transitions in Mattapan, it's like a holding center for people that are trying to get into a recovery program. And then they also have a thing for people that just got out of prison. I couldn't get any help in the state of Massachusetts because of the fact that I wasn't convicted in the state of Massachusetts. You know what I'm saying? So I had to go the recovery route. Now, I wasn't shooting up heroin. I wasn't all, messed up. But I did struggle with drugs throughout high school and as a teen. And, some of these drugs led to me doing crazy things. And then also me wanting to get drugs led me to doing crazy things. And I mean, I wasn't on anything too crazy, but it's just the simple fact that I wanted to fund the lifestyle. When you can afford the lifestyle, people want to be in your circle, people want to be around you. So it wasn't necessarily the addiction to the drug, it was the addiction to the lifestyle itself. The money, the girls, the guns, the chains, the everything, you know what I mean? And back then I didn't even wear chains, but I had gold teeth. I had like $2,000 diamond out earrings. Um, you know what I'm saying? And I had a bajillion guns. Like I literally had guns for different outfits. It was retarded. I'm not even gonna get into them because I can really only speak on the one I got caught with. But I had a lot. So anyway, I called up Transitions and I let them know. I'm like, yo, I'm literally 3 days out of prison. I think this was my third day out of prison. And they're like, how old are you? And I'm like, I'm 20. And they're blown away. They're like, well, how much time did you just do? 3 years. They're like, what? This kid's 20 years old, just did 3 years, and he wants to come into a program on his third day. And I told them, I have nowhere to live. I don't want to fall back into the streets and get back into the wrong thing. They felt that, especially with my age. You know what I mean? People are more inclined to help out the younger people because of the fact that once you pass a certain age, people know what time it is. I mean, don't get me wrong. You can change your life at any age. But people are more inclined to help the younger ones because it can prevent you going through so much. You know what I'm saying? A 20-year-old and a 40-year-old that want to change their lives, they're going to help the 20-year-old because you already have 20 years experience on him. Another 20 years, you're in your 60s. Another 20 years, he's your age. You see what I'm saying? So, they let me know first quarter they got a bed available. They run me down on everything. They tell me, go get some clothes, go get some soap, some whatever. Um, so I mean, I'm still like jail mentality. I get my shower slides from the store. I get a bunch of socks, a bunch of white tees. I had like nothing but white tees at the beginning, and that's what it was. I just got a whole bunch of cheap stuff and a couple pairs of like khaki shorts, not khaki shorts, like cargo shorts. And it was summertime too. You know what I mean? It was July when I got out. I got out July 1st. So, it's hot and no one really wants to be in the sober program in the summer. Most of these places are usually packed in the wintertime because whoever's homeless doesn't want to struggle throughout the winter. I went in the summer, but my focus wasn't having fun, it was adjusting into society. And they had a rule, we're not allowed to have cell phones. So I show up at the place, the lady's super nice. They warm me down, they look through all my stuff, I get my room, I'm top bunk, I'm fine with that. And I was just so programmed on prison, I come in, I'm like, yes ma'am, yes sir. And they're like, oh my God, you're so polite. And I'm thinking in my head, like, I'm institutionalized as a bit right now. Like, this is just the lingo, you feel me? And I mean, I had the southern accent like crazy when I first came up. So that actually, they liked it. You know what I'm saying? They liked how I was talking, the staff. They liked how I was carrying myself. And I got into the program or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And like, first quarter, I'm standing outside my door. I'm outside my cell, and not my cell. I'm outside my room, and I'm just mugging. I'm watching everybody. Like transitions, it's just one hallway with a whole bunch of rooms on the sides, and then the bathroom. You got a day room, you got a TV room, and it's all different ages. I think I was the youngest. No, there was one kid younger than me in there. He was like 18 or 19. Um, Majority of them were like late 20s. You got a couple of guys in their 30s and then 40s. And my bunkie, I think he was like 39, 40. He was facing some Fed time or whatever. So he was asking me more or less what I think will happen with his case. And, I'm just lacing him up on what I know or whatever. And my first thought is, I'm going to get a phone in here immediately. I need a phone in here. I'm not, I was just in prison where it's a little bit harder to get a phone. I can get a phone in here easily. I'm going to do it. I start getting to know everybody. A lot of people from Massachusetts come to Boston to get sober and go through the programs and stuff. The first person that stuck out to me was this dude named Russia. He's MBK, my brother's keeper. He was locked. He's been locked up everywhere pretty much. The Bay, Nash. He was in the Bay or Nash, whichever one, when Aaron Hernandez was in there. So, he's telling me about that, whatever. Because when I go in, obviously, I'm like, yo, what's up? This is my name. My blood was popping. I'm introducing myself as if I'm still in prison. Like, it's going to be gang affiliation, whatever. And, once I told him, he was like, oh, yeah, I was in there with Aaron Hernandez. And he was G-checking everybody in there, da-da-da. But, I got cool with some of the guys in there. There was some guys that have done time, and we just started relating on things. We started hanging out or whatever. We were allowed to go outside for cigarette breaks, and I was smoking cigarettes just because I couldn't smoke weed. I'm outside smoking cigarettes with everybody, and then the girls come down. They're on the second floor, so we all get to smoke with the girls and, talk to them a little bit. We're not supposed to, but the staff member, I was about to say COs, the staff member was mad cool, like, they didn't really care. And then sometimes they would let us go to the field across the street. And, we could throw the football, we could work out, whatever we want to do. That's when we really get to, like, talk with the girls and all that on the girls' side. And, I mean, their age is the same thing. It's all 18 and up. So you got some of them that's in their 20s. You got some that's in their 40s. And we would have meetings. And, it all starts off like, hi, my name's Jake. I'm an addict. Like, everybody's got to do it. And we just share our story, you know what I'm saying? So off rip, I'm like, yeah, I just got out of prison 3 days ago. And everybody's like, what? Like, what? You just got out of prison? Yeah. So, I mean, it felt weird being back into a program because I was in programs, my teenage years, and I hated them. I always wanted to get out of them. But I knew this wasn't my actual program. It was just a transitional place I was being held at until I got to my program. And everyone was telling me about the Cushion House, telling me how good it was there. You eat super good. They take you on like field trips every single day. The Cushion House is generally for younger kids. It's like 15. The oldest kid that was in there was 23. You know what I'm saying? So it's like 16, 17, 18, 19-year-olds mostly. But they treat you like kids. They don't treat you like adults. So you got to get in this little ugly-ass van, and, they take you to the zoo. They took me to Franklin Park Zoo. So I'm at the zoo hanging out. They used to take us to the beach every week. So, we go to the L Street Gym in South Boston, and we would be hitting the weights. We were allowed to go on the boxing gym side, so I go over on the boxing gym side. They let me hit the mitts. I forget the name of the trainer that was there. He's a real short dude. He got a flat nose, but he was like a championship boxer. Everybody knows him in Southie. He's a good guy. I'd hit the mitts with him. And, we get a good workout in. We be there for like 2 hours. I do an hour working out. And then I go over to the beach. I'm all sweaty. Come up out the shirt. Just get into the water. You could talk to the people that were at the beach that weren't in the program. It was pretty lenient. You know what I'm saying? And the freedom was just enough for me that I didn't feel locked down. But transitions was more like you're stuck in the place. So, you know, I'm in transitions and you got kids in here like, yo, I gotta wait 60 days until a bed opens up and I don't think I can do this. I'm about to just leave. I'm about to go shoot up. I'm about to get high. You would have girls, like a girl upstairs got kicked out and she came down and she's yelling into the window from outside like, yo, I got 30 oxys, whatever, whatever. Who's trying to run off with me? And you would have dudes that would be like, yeah, and just run out the building. You know what I'm saying? Leave all this stuff. And they go on the run, just getting high and having sex with this girl they don't know and being homeless. And so, I mean, I try to tell people, like I sat down, this one kid that I met, I think he was from Lola Lawrence, one of them. And he would rap and all that. There was another kid named Burley. I think he was from Rosendale, but he moved out to Worcester. And he was another rapper. But this kid, his name was D-Lo. Derek something. I forget his last name. But, they both rapped or whatever. They would chill. You know what I'm saying? They would chill. And he would just go through it. He would go through it mentally, and I try to he was older than me, but I'm trying to give him advice like, bro, I used to pipe out 60 days in confinement like it wasn't nothing. You can do 60 days. Just put your mind in the right position. You know what I'm saying? You'll get through this. Fast forward after the program and all that, I found out D-Lo had, he eventually hung himself. And from what I heard, he didn't die, but he's like paralyzed and can't communicate anymore and a lot of stuff. You know what I'm saying? When I went through this sober program, a lot of people were dying. A lot of people were overdosing. And honestly, like, to be completely brutal with y'all, I had no sympathy because I just got out of prison. Like, people I know get killed. Y'all are damn near committing suicide. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're injecting that in you. No one's running up and sticking a needle in your neck for you and killing you on purpose. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't really sympathize until I was in the program for longer and started to understand these people's pain, what they go through mentally, what they struggle with on a daily basis, and the disease, which is addiction. So boom, right? Eventually my mother, like, I'm allowed to go out with my moms for like an hour or whatever, right? In first quarter, I have her bring me my cell phone back. Like, I called her on the phone there. I'm like, yo, next time you come through, bring my phone. So we go out to eat, whatever, right? So I got some new shoes. I take the phone and I stuff it in the shoes in the shoebox. I'm supposed to get searched right when I come back into the building. And I came in, I shot past the security desk. It was like some old guy working. He ain't on point. And I shoot past the desk. I go right into my room. I take the phone up out the shoebox. I hide the phone under the dresser, like, whatever. And then I came back out, and this dude thought I just walked in. He had no idea that I've been in my room. So he wants me down or whatever. They don't find nothing. Now I got a phone in my room. So I'm on my phone like all night. Like, you're allowed to have phones at this place. You have to turn them in though at night. And you're not allowed to have them at certain times. So like, they'll take your phone and put it in like a lockbox with the charger. I got mine all night. So I'm throwing, this is like 3, 4, 5 days out of prison. I'm throwing my blanket over my head at night. I'm on my phone the whole night. I just made a Snapchat, just made a Facebook. I'm on World Style watching all the videos from 2012, 13, 14, all the way to 15. And I'm just hanging out. And I mean, I was so cool with a lot of the staff. I was real respectful with everyone. They knew I just got out. I had a lady catch me with my phone. She didn't say nothing. You know what I'm saying? They weren't worried about it. And, you know, eventually my day came to go to the Cushion House, to the program. So I get to the program. I go up there with my stuff, and I basically have like a little interview. And then they're like, "So do you wanna do this?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'd like to be in the program." And he's telling me like, "Yo, these kids like most of these kids have never been arrested, never mind prison. So just try to get out of the prison mentality. Like, we don't want you intimidating kids, whatever." I mean, most of these kids never even had a tattoo. Never mind face tats and, you know, prison tats and everything else. A lot of suburban kids, you know what I'm saying? Like, the program, none of these kids were from Boston. Not one of these kids were from Boston. Everybody's from, like, Cape Cod, Springfield, like, all these suburban areas that you never really hear about. Like, just way out wherever, but they come to Boston to get sober. And, you know, they introduced me to everyone, so I gotta go around saying what's up, da da da. I get put in my room, and the room is a mess. Like, they didn't clean it up from the last kid that was in there. Everything's just messed up, you know what I'm saying? So, first quarter, I clean the whole room. I make my bunkie clean up all hit. Like, bruh, get your shit together, you know what I'm saying? Same thing you would do when you get moved in a cell. So I had a dresser, right? And it had a pot on the inside you could hang your clothes. So I'm cleaning everything, wiping everything down because I got all new clothes. I feel in the back, I pull out a card, and it's like someone's death card, like some old guy, and it's got the dates that he died and a little prayer on the back or whatever. I reach back there some more, and I find a pack of papers, rolling papers. So I'm like, what? What is this? I reach back some more, I pull out a bag of K2. So this is the real K2, like from the store. Like, there was a store in Southie you could still buy K2 at, and this was the real K2. So now I got the K2 in the program. I got a thing of papers, whatever. I'm like, it's lit. You know what I'm saying? I don't tell my roommate because this kid's on heroin. Like, I don't want this kid to smoke and then run out of the program and go shoot dope. And we got mad cool. You know what I'm saying? But more or less, now I got the K2. I got the Tunchi on lock. So what I was doing, like, I got introduced to everyone. I pretty much looked at everyone like they was lame when I got into the program. Nobody was on my level, but I was trying to break out of the mentality that you needed to be about it to be cool with me. Because if I only surround myself with people that are about that life, I'm going to stay in these about that life situations. You know what I'm saying? If I'm around someone that's steady trying to do something crazy to somebody, I'm going to find myself constantly in these situations and find myself back in prison. So I try to lift that, you know what I'm saying, and start talking to these kids and get cool with these kids. Um, and I got cool with a lot of them. You know what I'm saying? There was a kid that was getting bullied. I helped him get out of that situation because a lot of the kids in the program was looking up to me. All of my old Jordans and stuff from Florida that I had just bought probably a month before I got locked up and went to prison. I ended up giving them all my shoes. I gave away my clothes. I was giving away mad stuff. So kids that was in there with nothing, you know what I mean, that, you know, just didn't have anything. Like, they got ATI, right? When you get into a program or when you get out of jail, you can get ATI and you get like a free cell phone and like $100 or whatever to go buy clothes. And it's like a Massachusetts program. I wasn't supposed to get ATI because I was convicted in another state, but I got hooked up because the dude, I don't know, I'm not gonna name his name, but shout out to you, he hooked me up. So a lot of these kids got like Kmart shoes and, you know, stuff like that. So I'm hooking them up with Jordans and everything. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get everyone on a more positive mentality. You feel me? They looking up to me. They're like, yo, you been to prison, you da da da. And I'm telling them like how crazy it is without trying to glorify it, but telling them you don't need to go through that to have the confidence that I'm showing y'all. You know what I'm saying? You don't need to go through that to have the respect that I have. It's not necessary. You can stop moving like me right now and avoid all of that negativity. So a lot of these kids was on that. You know what I'm saying? I used to smoke the K2 in the shower. What I do is I get into the shower because we can have cigarettes. So like, you know, we all got lighters and everything. So I get in the shower, I roll up a thing of K2, and I squat down in the shower, butt ass naked, and fire it up. So I'm smoking it in the shower as I'm fanning. I would wipe soap on the walls, just like in prison. So the hot steam, all you smell is soap. And then I blow the smoke into the draining hole, drop the little joint down the drain, and then I just soap up and be zooted. When I come up out the shower, I'm like this here, like chilling. I go in my room, whatever, hang out. And once again, at this spot, we weren't allowed to have phones at all because kids used to meet people and, you know, get hookups and overdose in the bathroom, or, you know, run away after setting up a play, and we weren't allowed to have phones. So when I first came in, I gave up my phone. I like just willingly gave it to them. You know what I'm saying? And what ended up happening is I had my mother bring it in on a visitation, and I had her bring me one of those super thick rubber bands. So like my boxes, before when my boxer ends, I will put the rubber band around my leg over the boxes so it compresses it, and then drop the phone in my boxes so that my phone couldn't fall out. Because it's technically a hands-off facility. So when they search you, they can only make you empty your pockets, take your shoes off, shake them out, whatever. They can't actually pat you down. All of the staff knew I had a phone in there because I'm taking pictures inside the program and posting it on Facebook. The staff is going on my Facebook. They can't get the phone. They flip my room. They don't find the phone. They can't figure it out. They know I got it, but they can't get it. But at the same time, they know these kids look up to me in here. They know I don't play games with them. I make sure everybody's respectful to everybody. You know what I'm saying? It's like I held the house down. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't. They knew why I was in the program. They knew that I wasn't going to call and get heroin. They knew I wasn't going to get anyone high. They weren't worried about me having a phone. You know what I mean? And there was a guy that worked at the program originally from the D Street Projects in Southie, an older guy. Cool as hell, you know what I'm saying? And his name's Pat. Pat stuck out to me the second I met him because when he came in, he just, oh, you motherfuckers always leaving a fucking mess. You stupid fucks. Who did this? Da da da. Like, he was just 110% authentic, hot ass, like Irish to the bone. I'll fuck you up. Like, I knew I liked the guy the second I met him, and he came in screaming at everybody because it's tough love. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of these kids need that and have never experienced that. They get babied by their parents. They shoot dope. They, you know, get grounded when it's really no consequence whatsoever. And then you got him coming in here busting everybody's balls. Like, I'll beat your ass. Your mother gave me permission. Like, and when my mom brought me there and met Pat, she full-blown told him, like, oh, yeah, he's Irish. I'm Irish. You're Irish. You can fuck him up if he does anything out of bounds. Like, full-blown gave him permission. You know what I'm saying? He was a cool-ass dude, though. And he privately came in my room and introduced himself to me. And he knew I was just out of prison. So hearing someone talk like that to me, I got thoughts racing through my head. Like, you got me. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got me fucked up. He came in and introduced himself to me and told me, like, I got to be tough on these kids. And I told him 110%, I respect that. Like, I know what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? I shook his hand. And, man, I got mad respect for Pat, man. He a good dude. He really does his best to help those kids out and be a hot ass on those kids. And it helps out those kids in the end. You know, he helped out another kid that I was in the program with and got him out of DYS. And, you know, just got him out of this whole situation he was in where he could have did a lot more time. And nothing but respect for that man. He really putting in work trying to help and, you know, save these kids. And he grew up in Southie. He knows what it is. He knows how bad it is and how bad it gets. And I mean, I remember one time I'm working out, right? There's like a little day room. I'm working out in there, and Pat walks by. I got my shirt off. I'm flexing at him. So he's looking at me in the window and he starts laughing. So I'm flexing even harder, like, yo, you don't want none, tighten up. So he comes in, he's like, what? So I'm like, man, that shit ain't bumping. That old shit ain't about nothing. Mind you, he's like late 40s. You know what I'm saying? He's an older dude. Immediately puts his shit down. He's like, what's up, kid? So we go at it in there a little piece. Like, we're not throwing hands, but we're wrestling. We're going at it, and I underestimated the shit out of him. Push come to shove, I ended up getting slammed on my head. I got rug burn on my back because it was a rug floor. We went at it a little piece, and all the other kids in the program were like, oh, he's going at it with Pat. He's going at it with Pat. But, man, after we did that, man, I had so much respect for his old ass. Like, that was my dog after that. You know what I'm saying? He was mad cool. Nothing but respect for Pat. And I met a lot of solid motherfuckers from Southie that worked in that program. Joey that worked there, he's from D Street. I'm not going to name his last name, but just there was a lot of solid ass people in there. And, you know, sometimes when I was in there, I'd be tripping and not as respectful as I could be. Sometimes I woke up and I didn't want to be in that program. But when I started going to the meetings, because we had to go to the meetings, that's when I started understanding that a lot of the same struggles they're going through with addiction is a lot of the same things that I go through just as a regular person. I didn't realize I had so much in common with their struggle. And it was through learning the 12 steps, and it was through hearing these people speak, I realized 110%, like, I'm an addict. Like, everything that I was addicted to, all the pills that I was on, everything that I was getting into, it just all clicked, you know what I mean? And I might not have been shooting dope, but I could have died off of any of those pills I was doing. And I really liked it. I liked going to the meetings. I liked meeting a lot of the, you know, older South Boston guys, the older Charlestown guys, like the real ones that did time at Shirley, that have been through all the bullshit, the 80s, the 90s, everything, you know what I'm saying? Originally from the projects, like, you know, a lot of people don't know, South Boston, those projects used to be all white. And you still got white families that live in those projects. You know what I mean? Like, in Florida, it's unheard of for a white person to live in the projects. But up here, it's completely different. And I met a lot of solid people. You know, I met that guy that I spoke on in another video. And he did 25 years for that murder. And he was the one that really helped me, like, yo, just breathe. Just breathe. Because at first, bro, when I got in the program, and when we went to meetings, I had to have my back against the wall. I wouldn't sit down. I had to have my back against the wall. I didn't trust nobody. I wasn't friendly for nothing. If you walked up and tried to shake my hand and I didn't know you, I felt like you were trying to disrespect me. Why are you trying to be friendly to me? You think I'm friendly? You think I'm sweet? You think it's soft or something? That was that prison mentality. No one's coming up to you just to shake your hand. I had to break out of all that. You know what I mean? I had to break out of that super, super prideful, you know, any little disrespect, I got to hit them up type of mentality. And I was around some real authentic dudes. Some of these dudes were still on bracelets. They just got out of prison. They just got out of the feds. They just got out of Shirley. Dudes that did time. So when we used to have to speak in the meetings, there was people that related to me. You know, I spoke at one meeting, right? At the L Street gym. We had a meeting in this little open room. And I stood up and I gave my little speech. And just like how I talk on here, I talked at these meetings in front of mad people. And I was mad nervous, but when I got up, everybody was really accepting. A lot of the dudes at first were like, who is this? Like, why does he talk like that? A lot of the girls were like, I love how he talks. And then once I told my story, everybody was like, oh shit. You know what I'm saying? And I had these two dudes like pretty much like run up to me immediately. He was like, yo, I was in Florida State Prison. Where were you at? So first quarter, like I named all the camps I was at, the reception centers, like, yo, what's up? And he's like, oh, okay. Like the second, you can't fake prison. You can't fake the reception centers. You know how the dorms look. You know everything about the damn thing. So he knew it was authentic. And pretty much everybody else was watching how he reacted, and once they knew, it was like, yeah, that's official. Everybody was cool with me real quick. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people were calling me Miami, even though I wasn't from Miami, never been to Miami, just because I was from Florida. They don't know anywhere else in Florida, and they're not going to call me Disney. So I'd rather them call me Miami than Disney. But everybody got mad cool with me, and it was, you know, meeting these people, meeting people that have been in similar situations as myself. If I just went home and I'm just around regular people, I felt so out of place. Like, I didn't fit in. Like, y'all don't understand what I just went through. I'm looking at all y'all like y'all soft. Y'all ain't been through nothing. Y'all ain't. But I'm around a bunch of people that are struggling still to this day. I'm around people that just got out. I'm around people that did mad time. I'm around people that might have to do time. And it was very welcoming to be around those kinds of people. People that were accepting. People that weren't just going to look at you a funny way or whatever. And just mad cool. And it was also cool to have the kids in the program looking up to me because of all the shit that I had already been through. You know, so I was somewhat an influence, and I held the responsibility to be a positive influence on the other kids in the program. And I mean, there was one staff member who was like a fake bicycle cop for Columbia Point. Columbia Point used to be the projects. It's now Harbor Point. They turned it into apartments or whatever. It's nothing like how it used to be. But he's like a bicycle cop over there. And he works at this program in the day. And dude just like would be mad disrespectful to the kids that was in there. For some reason, he would come in our bathroom instead of the staff bathroom. I was checking him on everything left and right. Like, he was like wrestling with this kid and saying like, oh, I'll fuck you up. And the kid's like 16. So I jumped in that shit. Like, I bet you don't touch me like that. I bet you don't talk to me like that. I'll fuck you up in here. I just got out of prison. Wetting shit up. Old, young, I don't give a fuck about none of that. You 18, 30, 40, I'll fuck you up. Like, you ain't finna try me like that. I mean, this man was such a bitch. Like, he even went home and, like, looked up my name to see if I had really went to prison. Like, he thought I was lying about it or something. Like, dude was a straight bitch, but he also used to do a lot of suspect shit. Like, why are you getting changed in the kids' bathroom when you got a staff bathroom? It doesn't make sense. Why are you going into the two kids' rooms that are 16 and like tickling them and playing with them like that? You shouldn't be touching them like that. If this was prison, you would be a booty bandit. You would look like a booty bandit 110%. You're trying to associate with people that are like 25, 30 years younger than you. You're being touchy-feely with them. I put them on blast about everything. You know what I'm saying? And it's not like I went and told on him. I'm snapping on him. To the point that other staff members are running up like, yo, what's the problem? What's the problem? Push come to shove, he wasn't allowed to touch no one no more. He wasn't allowed to go in the bathroom no more with us. You shouldn't be in there anyway. Because he would wait until the 16 and the other kid that was 17 would come out of the showers, so they're only like half in their shower. And he would make like mad gay jokes. I wasn't with none of that. None of that. Dude was mad suspect, bro. But I called him slap out on everything, and he obviously was dead pussy. Like, he wasn't gonna fight or nothing like that. But the program, the only thing I disliked about the Cushing House was they really treated you like kids. And I feel like if you want people to be grown and stand on their own, you have to give them the ability to be grown and stand on their own. And you have to give them that respect. That's the thing about prison. When I went to the adult prisons, a 40-year-old isn't going to spare me because I'm 18. He's going to stab me up if I disrespect him. So I gave him the same respect that he gave me, regardless of age. Because if you try me and you're 40, I'm not going to spare you just because you're my dad's age. I'm going to wet you up just the same as anyone else. So when I got out, I was on the same type of mentality. Like, you're not going to talk to me like a kid in here. You're going to speak to me like a grown man. It's going to be a mutual respect. Because if it's fuck me, it's fuck you too. And that's how I felt. There was one situation. There was two situations I want to speak on. There was public toothpaste in the bathroom. So there was toothpaste for anyone that didn't have toothpaste. And this kid supposedly did a prank, right? I have my own toothpaste. I never used this. But word got to me that this kid said he more or less like did something nasty with the toothpaste. I'm not going to say exactly what he did, but he did something nasty with it, and it was a prank, and other people were obviously going to use it. So me being me, I called the kid into the bathroom in front of, like 3 or 4 other people. And I'm like, I'm smiling. I'm like, yo, bro, did you really do this? Because what's his face is going to use it. He's like, yeah. I'm like, you did? He's like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, I just brushed my teeth with this bitch. You got to fight. And his whole face just dropped. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yeah, I just used this. You got to fight me. You just told me you really did that? tighten up. So I came up out the shirt. Bro started shaking and shit. And he's like denying it, saying he didn't do it. I'm like, yeah, well then eat the toothpaste. Eat it. So he, he takes the toothpaste. He's like, come on, bro, I didn't really do it. I'm like, nah, bitch, eat it. Eat that shit. You did that nasty shit, eat it. So he squirts a little out. I'm like, nah. So he holds his finger out, and I, squirt it on his whole finger. Because if he did something to it, the toothpaste at the very top is what he, contaminated. So you're finna consume all that. And he ate it. You know what I'm saying? He ate all the toothpaste. And he didn't actually do it, but it's just the point of you don't play with people like that. You don't try people like that. It was nasty what he said he did. You don't play with people like that. Had I ate that toothpaste, I would have hurt this kid. But it was a lesson learned. I didn't put any hands on him. I didn't intend on putting hands on him. Something we were able to resolve without staff getting involved, and he wasn't going to do any nasty pranks like that anymore. Something else that happened, though, is I had a white G-Shock, right? I had this G-Shock since 2012 before I went to prison. I wore it when I got out. The picture of me at Franklin Park Zoo, I had that G-Shock, right? So I used to put the G-Shock on top of my dresser and in the first drawer. And I mean, no one really dared to steal anything from me. But one day I wake up and I can't find my G-Shock. I only use like the first two drawers out of the whole bureau thing that I have, and then I have this open thing that hangs up, right? So my first drawer was like my boxes, my socks, my tank tops. My second drawer was like paperwork and notebooks, things like that. And then the open thing is where I put all my shirts, my pants, my shorts. I didn't fold none of that up. I hung everything up. So I only use two drawers. I opened both of the drawers. There's nothing in them. So I'm like, all right, my G-Shock's missing. Someone took my stuff. Whatever. We had a staff member that worked the night before. He was sketchy. I didn't trust him. And, push come to shove, I get word that this kid is trying to leave. He's talking about just running away from the program, and he was asking people, does he need an ID to pawn something? So first quarter, I'm thinking this is the kid that took the G-Shock. You know what I'm saying? I was suspicious, though, of 3 people, but he was one of them. And when I heard he was talking about running away and he was talking about pawning something, that basically narrowed it down. So what did I do? We were going to Revere Beach that day for like a field trip, and the staff member was like slow as hell. Like, we could get away with anything with this guy, you know what I mean? And when we went out to the van before the staff member came out, I basically made an announcement. I'm like, hey, when we get to the beach, whoever I tell to slide into the bathroom, slide. Ain't nothing to talk about. Somebody stole my shit. So if I tell you to slide, slide. Ain't no talking. So everybody's like, what? Who would steal something? Like, da-da-da-da. Not who would steal something, but who would steal something from me is what they were saying. So one of the kids was the toothpaste kid. I'm thinking maybe he did it because, I made him eat the toothpaste in front of everyone. The second kid was my roommate because, bitch, you in the room all goddamn day. If someone came in here, you know about it. Even if you didn't do it, I'm going to fuck you up just because you knew about it. And the third kid was the one talking about running away. So first quarter, the kid that ate the toothpaste, he starts crying, begging he didn't do it, da-da-da. Everyone's like, bro, I really don't think he did it. Boom, I spare him. I tell my roommate to tighten me up. You feel me? I come up out the shirt, I put my hands up, and he's just like, bro, I swear I didn't do it. I swear I didn't, da-da-da. He's denying it. Mind you, the third kid, the one that, was asking about pawning something, he's sitting on top of the counter. Like, we went to the bathrooms at Revere Beach, like the open bathrooms where they got like mad stalls and that huge countertop where you can just walk in and, shower up or whatever after the beach. And he's sitting on the counter laughing at the other 2 kids because the first one cried and the second one's begging like he didn't do it or whatever. So I'm just thinking to myself, like, he laughing over there like, like it's really funny or something. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I stopped with the second kid. I had my hands up. I was about to just start hitting him. And I didn't because I just seen something on his face that told me he didn't do it. And I turn over to the other kid, Will, and I'm like, hey, tighten up. So he's like, what? Me? I'm like, tighten up. So he gets down. The second he jumps off the counter, boom, 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 boom. No talking. Like I said, I just start hitting him in his shit. I threw him into the corner. I'm lighting him up. And, you know, he balls up or whatever. I'm whacking him. And then they're like, all right, Cherry, stop. All right, stop. So I stop. You feel me? That shit red. He ain't busted. Like, I ain't try to break his shit. You know what I'm saying? But I wanted to get my point across. I'm like, so where's my watch? He's still denying it. He says he doesn't have it, whatever. I'm like, I bet. So we just go to the beach and hang out. You know, kid's face had marks. Like, he had marks on his face. And I'm thinking, like, he's going to snitch or whatever. So we get back from the beach. He doesn't snitch, right? So I forgot to tell y'all, but before this happened, the staff that was there, I confronted the staff. Like, just like how I confronted the kids in there, I confronted the staff. And two of the staff members were there from the previous night, but that one that I thought was sketchy wasn't. And you know, one of the guys that was there, he's been to prison and all that. So I came in and I'm telling them, like, yo, who went in my room last night? Who was flipping rooms? They tell me the sketchy dude was the only dude. So I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to tell y'all, and this is between us, that when he comes back, he has to fight me. He got me fucked up because something's missing out my room. Whoever went in my shit, you got to fight. Period. You've been to prison, so I'm sure you're not going to say anything. But when he goes out for his cigarette break, I'm going out for the break with him. And we're going to bump behind the building over by the projects. We're going to get it in. After that, we'll come back in here, act like ain't shit happened. So the staff is like, you know, they're not going to tell, but they're just like, you know, damn. Like, this kid ain't fucking off. So whatever, right? When we came back from the beach the next day, my third drawer is open. And like I said, I never used my third drawer. I only used the two. So it was only open a little bit, but it was enough that I noticed. I don't remember if it was open like that before I left, though. But I open it up, and there's my watch. So either after the ass whooping at the beach, someone put my watch back in my room because the staff member didn't come back, or I just dropped it and it fell in there and I never noticed it. But either way, everyone knew not to steal my shit. So it kind of worked out anyway. The kid never told on me, you know what I'm saying? And everybody was cool after that. But I couldn't let my shit go missing and just not do anything about it. You know what I mean? So eventually, I end up getting kicked out of the program. I got to a point where I wouldn't listen. I wasn't trying to do anything. The only time they would let us outside, if it wasn't for a field trip, was only to smoke cigarettes. I was tired of smoking. I started gaining my weight back because we could only eat and smoke cigarettes. Like, that's all we really did besides these field trips. And, you know, I was just tired of getting treated like a kid, really. So, boom, I got my watch back. Everything's good, right? So, you know, I wasn't following the rules. They wanted me out of the program. And, I mean, they didn't really have anything to actually kick me out of the program. I more or less just dipped because they wanted me out of the program. And I knew that if I left, it would be easier for me to get into a sober house or another program than if I said I got kicked out. You know what I'm saying? As long as I'm sober, as long as I'm not testing positive for nothing, I'm good. You know what I mean? And so I leave the program and I went to the recovery center by the Old Harbor Projects, you know, right by the Rotary where Whitey Bulger had his store. Like, that's where he operated out of. It's right over here in South Boston. You know what I mean? The Rotary is in between the Old Harbor Projects and the Old Colony Projects. So I go over to the rec center. I tell everyone, like, yo, I had a dip. They were going to kick me out. And more or less, I got put into a halfway house. And, you know, all of this was a part of me getting back into society. You know, I'm speaking at the meetings. Everybody knows me at the meetings. When I was in the program, they took me to a youth facility where everyone was like under 18. And when I spoke, you know, I got everyone's attention when I spoke. And their program actually called my program and asked if I could come back and speak, you know, on a regular basis because of how they just said what I was saying moved a lot of the kids. You know, I kept it blood raw. I tried not to cuss, But I told them about people getting cut. I told them about the broomsticks. I told them how me wanting to live this lifestyle with drugs and illegal things brought me into prison and what I had to go through inside of prison. And it stuck with those kids because they're not just hearing from someone who's older and like, oh yeah, don't do drugs, they're bad, you'll look like me. Like, nah, I'm still young, I'm 20, and I'm telling y'all how I was in there. You know what I mean? I turned 21 in the program. I had a little fake birthday or whatever. But you know, I get kicked out and I get into the sober house, and then I start meeting a lot of other dudes, you know, from Southie, from Charlestown. I met Naka from Charlestown. He's MBK. I met another kid from Southie who was cool. Him and his wife were living in there. She was pregnant. And I was just meeting mad solid people. You know, some of the other kids were still wilding out, but I was getting myself together. You know what I'm saying? I got a job. I ended up getting my first job in the halfway house. I was working at Dunkin' Donuts at Quincy Center, and I was the baker. I used to stay burning everything in there. Like, I wasn't good at this job. I hated the job. I was getting paid $2.30 a week. I was getting like $12 an hour. I'm getting paid $2.30 a week. My rent is $185 a week. So I'm paying $185 a week in rent. I'm only making $2.30. So I'm basically like starved out. I don't have nothing. I got like a case of ramen noodles. I'm drinking tap water. Um, and you know, I don't got furniture, nothing like that. It came with the bed and a tiny TV, but I'm just thugging. Like, this is what I gotta go through. This is better than prison. And I was trying to stay focused and just, you know, keep it going. If anyone's seen the movie The Town, the guy in the movie that worked at the flower shop that had the outline in Massachusetts with the Charlestown area code and the Irish flag, I actually met him in South Boston at a meeting and listened to his story. He's a real fucking dude. Like, went to prison, did everything. But, you know, that's one of my favorite fucking movies. So I see dude from the movie, I'm like, oh shit. But I'm not trying to walk up and be a fan and all in his face because I'm sure he's already used to that. But I met a lot of solid people that I could relate to. And going to those meetings on Fridays, you know, we used to go to meetings throughout the week, but the Friday meetings was really when the people would be coming out. You know what I'm saying? And it helped so much hearing those stories because I could relate to what they went through and I could view them in a better place. And that's what I needed to see and picture in my mind after my release to stay focused on becoming better. If I was released and just looking at people I couldn't relate to, I'm looking at people driving Mercedes and shit like I'm not going to get there anytime soon. And that discourages you when you're trying to get a job and nobody wants to hire you because all my charges got guns involved. Or, you know, when you're trying to get a job and you got to tell them you're in a program, you got a curfew. But when you see people you can relate to that's struggling but making it at the same time, and you got people that got your back and will support you, that's really how I was able to adjust into society and slowly get into the mix of everything without going too fast. You know what I mean? I met my girlfriend. I moved in with her. I got fired on my day off from Dunkin' Donuts because I started skipping Mondays, right? So I skipped another Monday, and then I called in like, oh, I'm sick. Ha ha ha. She's like, all right, take the day off. I'm like, all right, thank you. She calls me back the next day. She's like, yeah, you're fired. You can come pick up your check. So I'm like, how'd I get fired on my day off? She was like, well, it really wasn't your day off, but I said it was your day off because I was going to fire you. So I got fired on my day off. And I mean, after I got fired, I honestly struggled with finding a job. This was the hardest part, was finding another job, I mean, I used to Uber. I would take the train and all that. I started to get into it with people. People would see my tattoos. They want to question me. We'd start getting into it. And so I started like Ubering everywhere just to not start fucking people up and, you know what I'm saying, getting into certain situations I don't need to get into. And you know, I was spending mad money on Uber going to jobs that just wouldn't hire me, to the point that I was like, you know what, I'm not looking for no more jobs. I'm gonna crank up. You know what I'm saying? I really started falling back into that prison mentality. I stopped going to all the meetings. I stopped talking to everyone that I knew that was in sobriety and in the programs. And I just started seeing people with gold chains on, and I'm looking like, you're a bitch. I can make you take that off just by talking to you. Never mind snatching it. And I started to fall back into my old ways, which led to me almost going back to prison, which I'm gonna speak on in the next video. But hey, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I'm rocking with y'all like y'all rocking with me. 1090 J. Till next time.